Hi, so this is actually the second layer of the bed. And like I've said before, a lot of this kind of material is used in upholstery. It's used, like, if I was to cut this open, like I did with the one underneath, it will have this fabric inside. Whether or not you are still allowed to use this fabric, I don't know. Because obviously I've had this mattress now for about 9 years. It was probably at the time legal to manufacture with this fabric still. And it looks like the sort of thing that you could potentially use for insulation. So I'm not going to throw this away. What I'm going to do is I've got to take out all the staples that have stapled this to the metal frame. And this can be used for insulation. So I am not going to throw it away. I mean, I've literally seen this material being sold in Lidl and Aldi this Christmas, like October, November time. So if they're still selling it, saying, use it, it's obviously of merchantable quality and it is safe. It's not fire safe by all means. Jesus, I think I did a video years and years ago as to how flammable a mattress actually was, and I did it in the garden. But it was just, I didn't obviously set an entire mattress on fire, but I have seen mattresses be set alight to see what happens to them. But I took a little bit of fabric from the mattresses, I'm sure I did this about a decade ago or more, to see how quickly it would set on fire and how long it took to burn. And it's not just things like that. There's loads of things out there that people sell that are produced overseas that they say are safe for your kids to wear, like clothes, like fancy dress clothes. And some charity shops will not actually take fancy dress clothes for that reason, because they are highly flammable and they are a risk to your health. They're not something you should be wearing for a long period of time, or something you should wear if you're going to a bonfire display or a fireworks display. I was a child of the 80s, and one of the things that was very, very popular back when I was a child was shell suits. And that was the first thing that they would say to people: do not wear a shell suit if you're going to go to a bonfire display or a fireworks display. And when I was younger, they would be at every pub, every club would have one. We would go to them at Drayton Manor, we'd go to them at Alton Towers, we'd go to them at American Adventure. We would do the whole tour of the Midlands pretty much and go to every single event. My parents never missed an annual event if we could attend them. But what you wear and how you wear it, is very, very dangerous. It's one of the other reasons why with the Royal Navy, their uniforms are supposed to be cotton, because apparently, I believe it may have been during the Falklands War, again, don't quote me on this, they decided to use polyester. And what happened was, when people got set on fire from explosions, the clothes, instead of just burning up like cotton will, because they had plastic in them, which is what acrylic has, and polycotton has polyester in, it actually burned and melted to the skin of the armed force services personnel, which actually did more damage to them than if somebody had just actually set the skin on fire. Because then you're looking at molten plastic. So again, when you do get, if heaven forbid, I'd hope to think no one would get set on fire, but it does happen still. You're always taught the whole stop, drop and roll. But people don't do that. People panic and they run around and they don't know what to do for the best. But what you wear when that happens can be more detrimental to your health and your survival. The same with anything that you have in the house that is flammable than the actual fire itself. I have done videos about, upholsteries and things that people used to have in their properties where, in fact, it wouldn't have even been the fire that would probably kill you. It would be the smoke, because it would be so full of toxic fumes from your paint, from your curtains, from your bed, from the woodwork, if it was MDF, if you had polystyrene tiles, like at my ex father-in-law's house, which we've now took off the, we're going room by room by room, removing them carefully, because they're not the sort of thing you want in a modern day property, because you do not want molted plastic falling from the sky when you're trying to get out of a house, if heaven forbid you ended up in a house fire. So again, check your smoke alarms, people. It's at this time of year that you are going to not be as vigilant. And I know people do it, and this is just my advice. You're getting up to the big C. People are going to be putting candles on. People are going to be putting on fairy lights, tinsel around the fire, if you're lucky enough to still have an open fire. Flammable, flammable, flammable. Okay, just like this bed. All right, so you don't have to listen to anything I say. I'm not a professional. I'm just a mom. And like any mom, I want my kids to be safe, to be well, safe, and happy. And like I said, this is the fabric that was inside a mattress that was from John Lewis. So again, it's not a cheap brand. John Lewis is supposed to be like a real good and reputable company. So, coughing away here. Just be aware that when you do buy things, it doesn't matter where you buy them from. It's where they are manufactured and produced, and what the most up-to-date regulations are at the time that you buy something as to whether or not it is traded standard approved. So, yes, I will reuse this material as insulation instead of throwing it into landfill. So, thank you. And if you want to leave any comments, please feel free to do so. But again, anything abusive or violent or discriminatory against myself or anyone else will be removed. Thank you.